Hey gamers, Guilty here with a comprehensive guide for looking after the animal's health in zoochosis. In this video, I'll cover how to take temperatures, measure sound responses, examine fecal matter and take blood samples. And then we'll cover how to diagnose illness, create the right medication and administer them to the sick animals. I'll be using the gorillas as an example, but the principles in this guide work for all animals. First of all, you'll need to prepare the right food for the animals. There's a link on screen for a more in-depth guide on how to prepare that food. Now we'll get our gadgets to the enclosure, and just note that every enclosure you visit will be progressively harder to complete as the animals will be more sick. Now there are 4 symptoms we need to test: temperature, sound response, blood and poop. It doesn't matter what order you do it in, but there are more efficient sequences than others. The first thing we should always do is feed them, so grab that food bucket and put it in the food area. Some animals may take a while to eat, especially if they have sickness. This is why I recommend to scoop the poop last, because if they don't eat, they don't excrete. The first symptom you should check is either their temperature or their sound response. With the TIS you can check their heat levels, and this is by far the easiest of the symptoms to check. Now to complete the scan you must set it up in an area that won't obstruct the view for a few seconds. You can see that Chief is a bit hot and we'll have to diagnose his illness later. However, Thor and Pepper show no sign of illness based on their temperature reading, but this could change when we examine the other symptoms. Now it looks like Dexter's a bit sick as well. You can also see the symptoms in small print under their names. Green symbols mean they don't show signs of the symptom, red means they do show signs of the symptom, and grey indicates it hasn't been checked yet. Next we'll check their sound response. Pick up this gadget and hold it near the animals for a few consecutive seconds. Some of them run in fear, so you'll have to chase them down to get a good reading. You'll see the sound icon indicating if they have the symptom or not. On the left of your HUD you should get the task complete update and you can move on to the next step. Take the blood syringe and you need to take the blood sample of each animal. There are a few tricks to this if you're struggling and I'll walk you through it. See that red square on the gorilla? When it turns green it means you can take the sample, but remember to press the shoot button, not the pet button. The sick animals will give you a hard time trying to take the samples, but with patience you will eventually get it. If they're sleeping you're really lucky because they're in a constant green state. But say you forget which animal's blood sample you've taken, in your PDA under the inventory section you can view which animal you've yet to jab. In this case we don't have Thor's blood sample, so we'll grab that now. Now we need to suck up the poop. Grab the MFV and let's get to it. The reason I recommend doing this one last is so the animals have a chance to eat and digest their food. This way all you need to do is find out where they empty their logs and no need for waiting around. With all the evidence samples we need, we can exit the enclosure for now and head back to the train. Grab the MFE again and go to the side of the train here to examine the poop for any abnormalities. Assuming you've collected all the poop, you'll get another task complete update. Put the vacuum back and head to this machine to put your blood samples in for testing. You only need to do this once, and when that's all done you can confirm that you've done everything on the PDA. All you have to do now is administer the medication, but first we need to craft it. So on the computer here we have the crafting and diagnosis at the top. Press the diagnosis tab and make sure you select the right animal here. In this case we want the gorilla. So we have Dexter and we have Chief, both with temperature symptoms. So we can use this to filter up here which kind of symptoms they have, and it may change depending on which exhibit you're in. So at the moment we could just filter the temperature one because that's all we need. And as you can see the RTIs only have the symptom of the temperature. So it must be the RTI, the respiratory tract infection, with bacterial infections that have the nose, throat, sinuses, airways and lungs. So with that information, come over to the crafting and we need to find that medication with a description that matches. So the lethal injection won't be it. Temperlax, it says anti-inflammatory substance with respiratory viral infections. So that kind of matches this one here. Now the wording's not going to be exactly right, so you're going to have to use some deductive reasoning to determine which one it is. If you go down the list, you might actually find similar ones, like this Bactiguard is a bacterial infection. It kind of seems like the same thing, but the Temperlax actually matches it a little bit more. So it's worth going through every single one of them. There are a lot, but in this case we're going to go with the Temperlax. And because there's 2 gorillas that need it, we're going to create 2 of them. Now pick up the darts from the dispenser to your left and load them up in the dart gun. You'll either find the dart gun on your person by pressing Q or on the gadget trolley. Sometimes you'll have multiple ammo types and you can change them on the PDA or by reloading again. Double check you have the right medicine by looking on the gun and you're ready to go. It's important you don't miss because you can't collect the dart once it's shot. Aiming your gun at the animal front on will scare it away, so try to sneak up on it or you can shoot it from a distance. When successful, you'll see the symptoms turn green straight away. Reload again by pressing R and add another dart to your gun. Make sure it's the correct medication again by checking the front of the ammo. Now I'll show you what will happen if you use the wrong medicine. First, no symptoms will go away and the animal will vomit shortly after. Now when you use the correct dart, you should get this message once all the animals are cured. And that's everything. You can now go back to the train and move on to the next enclosure. I hope this video helped, and please hit that like and subscribe button. I've almost reached my goal of 1000 subscribers. In the meantime, I'll see you next video. Bye!